Okay, so I made up this problem. So I'll just talk this one through. Okay. So I made up this problem. F of x is equal to -2 times the cube root of x minus 3 plus 2. So I want to start with my parent function, which is, what's my parent function here? Cube root, very good. Okay. So my parent function is the cube root of x. And I know what that looks like because I know my library of functions. So, but just to make it a little bit accurate on the piece of paper here, I know that it has 0, 0. I know that it has 1, 1. And I know that it has 8, 2, because the cube root of 8 is 2. And I'd have to go all the way out to 27 to get to 3. So it's kind of a flat-looking function. And it's an odd function, so it has -1, 1, and then -8, -2. So my first piece of graphing looks like that. And I don't care if it looks pretty, because mine doesn't. That's the first part. Now the second part, I like to work these left to right. The second part is the negative sign. The negative sign is telling me I have to reflect this, and the negative sign is outside the function. So the negative sign is telling me I need to reflect this over the x-axis. So that means where this point right here was 8, 2, I'm reflecting it over the x-axis, it's going to be 8, -2. And this point here, which was 1, 1, is going to be 1, -1. There's nothing to reflect over the x-axis when I have an x-intercept, so it's 0, 0. That stays right where it is. And where I had -1, -1, I'm going to flip it over the x-axis, but now it's going from negative to positive. So I'm going to put it right there. And then at -8, -2, I'm going to put it right there at +2. And now my graph looks like that. A nice reflection over the x-axis. So that one in the red, we'll call that's the negative cube root of x. Well, yeah, moving from left to right, now I'm going to talk about my a, which is a 2. So every one of my y values, because it's not underneath the function sign, every one of my y values has to be multiplied by 2. So I'm going to write that in green. I have -2 cube root of x. So I had a y value here at 0, 0. Well, 0 times 0 is 0. So I'm still going to have it's still going to be right there at the origin. At x equals 1, my y equals -1. Well, -1 times 2 is -2, so that means that point's going to go right there. And at x equals 8, I had a point -2, so I'm going to multiply that times 2, which is going to get me to -4. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I had -1, 1. I multiply my y value of 1 by 2, and I get -1, 2. And at x equals -8, I had a y value of +2. That's going to give me a y value of +4, because I'm multiplying it by 2. And now my graph looks like that. Oh, it's looking better all the time. Which one? So this one right here, this coordinate right here, and I'll write that in there in green. That's -1, 2. And this is -2, 8. And I still have 0, 0. This is 1, -2. And this is 8, -4.
So you're basically multiplying -2 by the y value?
So, yes, exactly right. I multiply -2 times the y value of my parent, right? I like to do it step by step, first doing the negative sign, and then I multiply the 2 times what that negative value was. But if you can do it together, more power to you.
like to find the y value?
Yes, because that's what it's telling me. It's telling me my function is equal to negative 2 times the cube root of x. The cube root of x is my parent. I'm taking all those y values that that parent has produced, and I'm multiplying them by negative 2. I just like to do it in 2 separate steps. Okay. Now, once I've done that, my final transformation is going to be the horizontal, my h, and the vertical, my k. So my h and my k. And I do like to do these together. So I'm going to move, if this is a negative 3, means I'm going to move to the right 3, and I'm going to move up 2. So every one of my points, I'm going to move to the right 3 and up 2. So I'll start with my origin right here. I'm going to move to the right 3, 1, 2, 3, and up 2, 1, 2. That's my new kind of origin, so to speak. And I can label that point right while I'm doing it here. If it was 0, 0, now it's going to be 3, 2. So I'll label that 3, 2. And then I have this point at 1, negative 2. I'm going to move to the right 3, 1, 2, 3, and up 2 right there. So my new point there is going to be 4, 0. And you can kind of see this, right? I mean, if I'm moving to the right 3 and up 2, it means I'm adding 3 to my x value, and I'm adding 2 to my y value. So if I add 3 to 1, that gives me 4. And if I add 2 to negative 2, it gives me 0. So my point there is 4, 0. Yeah? Okay. And then this point over here, my 8, 4, I'm going to move, what was it, to the right 3, 1, 2, 3, and up 2. So this point right there is a point 11, 11, 2. And now I'll go to the other side here, to the right 3, 1, 2, 3, and up 2. So my new point there is 2, 4. And then this point right here, I'm going to go to the right 3, 1, 2, 3. Is that right? I wrote this wrong. I think nobody caught me. Yes, please.
11, negative 2.
It is. Thank you. It is 11, negative 2. And this point over here isn't negative 2, 8. It's 8, negative 8, 4. I don't know what I was thinking when I wrote that. So I'm back to my blue here. So I got that one there. And this one here now becomes to the right 3 and up 2. So that should become negative 5, 6. And my graph should look like that. Does that look okay? Yeah. So that's a transformation of a function. So let's